Hey all, Scott here from Art of the Genre, and today on Fast Talking, we are going to be talking about one of my favorite things to play in the Fast system, and that is my version of Starship Troopers using my Fast rules. And obviously, if we're looking at this is my Fast rule book that we sell here at Art of the Genre, and I am riffing off of this great piece. This was by Mongoose Press back in the day. It's D20, it's Starship Troopers, and this is the pocket edition, but it's a great little piece if you can find one. They did such a great job on it, kind of explaining the universe, giving more information on it. I got this back at Gen Con, I guess early 2000s, probably at a $5 stand, and they had all the stuff for this for like $5. But anyway, it's a great resource. This is what I've been using as my resource material as I convert it to Fast for my Fast notes in gameplay. But nevertheless, we're going to talk about that today on Fast Talking. So let's get into it. First thing that we're looking at here, obviously in Starship Troopers, is the ability to play the mobile infantry. Hooah, the mobile infantry. This is something that was made famous, obviously, in the book by Heinlein. Under Starship Troopers, and then most people probably know it from the now cult classic Starship Troopers movie from 1998, starring Casper Van Dien, as you can see up here, and also Dina Meyer, who plays Diz. They're both up here at the top left in this particular screen, but Denise Richards is in this, and the movie's just actually packed. Jake Busey's in it. Neil Patrick Harris. The movie's just Michael Ironside. I mean, really, you can watch the movie. And you're like, I know that person. I know that person. I know that person. There's a lot of bit parts in it as well that people went on to be famous. But anyway, it didn't do particularly well at the box office, but it has become an absolutely cult classic. I think that's because people didn't really know what to make of it when it came out, because it kind of comes off as a low budget movie. These their mobile infantry armor that they use in this was repurposed many times for many sci-fi series throughout time since. But they didn't have the budget to obviously do what Heinlein had involved in the see at the next jump, see on the next bounce. I'm sorry, when you're talking about the mobile infantry having basic power armor, and they did not. They just had generic armor in this particular movie. But nevertheless, it has aged, I think, particularly well, as people understood that it's kind of an anachronism for fascism and how a fascism state works against a war against the bugs. But nevertheless, if you watch it, it's campy. Now, this place crawls. I scream that all the time. It's something I absolutely adore. And it's a really, really fun setting. Here you can see some of the people that I've already mentioned, Denise Richards, Jake Busey. So anyway, and you can see the three kind of schools of thought within the course of this game or setting as well, which is the mobile infantry, which is Casper Van Dien there. Denise Richard is part of Fleet, which they get you there where you're going to fight. And then the Psychon, Neil Patrick Harris is playing the Psychon character here. And they are the psychics that have developed over the course of time. And his power is fairly limited in this particular movie, although he does have the ability to read cards and stuff like that. But he can throw his mind in a certain circumstance in the end of this movie, and allows Casper Van Dien's character Johnny Rico to find Carmen when she is trapped on the planet P. And so he can obviously move his mind over across great distances to help individuals. And as you watch this series, if you continue on, it actually has there's Starship Troopers, the movie, and then there's Starship Troopers 2, Starship Troopers 3, which are all live action, low budget kind of sci-fi films. Here's Johnny as well after killing one of these flame bugs. And getting splattered with some of its goo, which is always fun in these. It has the orange goo, but most of the standard warrior bugs have the green. And you can see that they're fighting here. The Clendathu fight down below in the bottom right. That's a big slaughter fest for when the war just started. After the bugs sent a meteor and destroyed Buenos Aires, and then humanity is going to attack these bugs and thinks that they're really simple and they're just going to be able to kill them, and they get absolutely annihilated on Clendathu and have to go back and lick their wounds. And up here you can see a warrior bug, standard warrior bug, and that's fighting. That's in one of the animated series, because after the 3 live action films, you can actually watch 2 other movies, which are very good. I think the first one's probably better. That's Starship Troopers Invasion, which I think is 2012. Little sexy stuff in it, but other than that, I think it's got a great story, and the animation is really good. And then in 2019, I think is Trader of Mars, which is another animated series, both of them featuring the same 3 characters, as well as a cast of other characters. But the neat part about that, those animated series, is you can see here, they show the mobile infantry in what would be a different, they're different suits of armor. The striker armor is the basic armor that you kind of see where they're just kind of running around in the movies. But then they have the obviously more powered armor that you can find. That's the M1A4. And this is great armor. This allows them to do the bounce where they are actually hopping around. They're as fast or faster than bugs with 4 legs. And they have a good amount of armor on them, although the bugs obviously still can pierce them and rip them apart with some ease, but still it gives them a more fighting chance because it ups their armor, their strength, and their ability to target multiple things. So nevertheless, when you look at adapting this to the FAST system, one of the first things that I had to do was go in and do trooper kits. So there are going to be kits. If you see the compendium volume 1, you understand what kits are for the basic archetypes. And that is, so there's Comtech, Engineer, Sniper, Neo Dog Handler, which you'll find in the Mongoose book, which they have like cybernetic and bioengineered dogs that they use against bugs, which is really kind of awesome. Field Medic, Marauder, that's the bigger power armor, which you actually can see in use in Invasion. They use that, so that's really kind of neat if you watch that animated movie. And then Officer Cadet. Then you can also there's a kit for Fleet, which is, it's a basic pilot kit, and then the Psychon, which is gives you a little bit extra because you've got to understand how psychics work. In like Trader of Mars, they go more into Psychon and what Carl is able to do, and not only throw his mind and manifest himself in different ways, but also hold people, from movement, stopping them from movement, causing a little bit of minor damage, like a nosebleed in somebody that they can plant as like a little bomb. Anyway, there's a little more things into it, and they go into Psychon as well in the Starship Troopers Mongoose book as well. But nevertheless, this is a perfect game engine, or a setting, I guess, for the game engine of my cinematic mass combat, which is one of my favorite things to use in FAST. And that is where the GM has a certain number of turns in which you're considered in cinematic mass combat. And that is where combat is just raging around you. People are dying. You're trying to get to a certain place typically, or hold a position, and you have to hold it for a certain amount of time, or you have a certain amount of time to get somewhere. Everyone is taking wounds, or has the possibility of taking wounds, while they're slaughtering enemies left and right that just kind of stack up around you. And there's a whole section in the advanced play of the FAST core book on cinematic mass combat, but I also go into it a little bit in my notes here because I had to do some changes for it, just in tweaking things, because typically cinematic mass combat, when I talked about it, had to do with like mages in a mass battle, or using swords or bows or something like this. In this, you're using obviously automatic fire weapons, and in FAST, you can only fire automatic, or like an automatic weapon, and burst fire 4 times before it's empty, or you can go full automatic, where you get 2 firings of full automatic to cover a zone and it's empty. So one of the things you have to look at in cinematic mass combat for Starship Troopers in FAST is you're going to be burning through a lot of clips in a cinematic mass combat sequence. And those are kept track of. The GM actually keeps track of them for everyone. That way you don't have anybody fudging how many clips they have. And then if they're, I'm out, somebody's got to make them count if they give you another clip, and you continue to move on through battle, or you're out and then you're screwed because you have to go to, your combat knife or something like that, which is really going to hinder your ability to keep the bugs off of you. So cinematic mass combat is a big deal in my notes here. And I go through pages on that, giving examples of certain characters and how they work. And then one of the other tweaks that I made is I go into a special critical system for bugs. That's not when you hit a bug, but that's when a bug hits you and gets a critical, because they have these pinchers, or they cut people's heads off if they're the flying bugs, or stuff like that. So there's a new critical system for them. Not only are they doing the standard critical damage that you see, but they pierce you or cut something off. And this will explain to you how, like in this upper sequence here, you can get a cybernetic arm if you survive. But nevertheless, these are some more pictures of the animated shows. Traitor of Mars is up to the top left, and that is actually Diz, who dies in the first movie that Johnny Rico, an older Johnny Rico, is talking to, and she's actually a manifestation of Carl, who's sending his mind across the planetary space from Earth to Mars, so he can contact Johnny Rico there. And then there's a sniper down below that's in Invasion, which is again a fantastic character and fantastic animated show. But nevertheless, when you see the bugs, there's I'll see you on the bounce, showing how these troopers can bounce and fire and move. There's a lot to do with the back jets on this, and I don't go into detail in my notes on everything that the armor can do. That can be found in any other repurposed game, like the Pocket Edition of the role-playing game from Mongoose. If you have that on your shelf or something like that, and you're just looking for an easier way to play it without having to deal with all the D20 nonsense or all the other stuff in it. I put in a few new faded traits as well on my my notes. I go into basic armor, basic weapons like the Merida rifle, the TW203A, which is the standard rifle. And then if anybody wanted to add anything else in, you obviously could. I just go into some base stuff like that. And then I also talk about the basic bugs that you're seeing. There are a lot more bugs if you look into various supplements for this, but the basic warrior bug, which everyone knows, the plasma bug, which is awesome, the hopper bug, which is the one that flies in, buzzes in, and cuts people's head off, the blaster bug, which was the big one that Johnny Rico had the orange stuff on, where it throws fire out. Those are just some of the bugs that I go into. Here's just some random pictures of Dina Meyer, and she actually voices the Spectre, I guess, of Diz in the Traitor of Mars anime as well. But here she is. How can you not like Diz? She was awesome in the first Starship Troopers. And then again, here's Carl, and he is talking to you about the war on the bugs. As you can see somebody getting the spears, or the pinchers, the front piercers through them. That would be a critical hit. This person is probably done, as they've been pierced twice to the chest, which should most likely be instant death. Also, a pierce to the head is an instant death. But otherwise, you can get your arms or legs torn off, or torn in half. But that's just another instant death on the critical system. But nevertheless, that is Starship Troopers through fast. Some of the wrinkles that I put in it, again, a lot of it leans on cinematic mass combat. And again, I leaned heavily into the Mongoose Press edition, which is, of course, long out of print, but you can probably find it somewhere, or you've had it on your shelf. If you're looking at that and you want to play it again, it's perfect to play with fast. And again, if anybody ever wants my notes on it, just feel free to ask about that. And I'll send you those notes for free, obviously. Not trying to step on any IP toes here. This is just how I play the system, and you're obviously welcome to play it in any system you want to, but I do have notes for how it works within the fast system, which is what fast talking is about. So otherwise, that is all I have for you today in fast talking. I'd love to hear some comments if anybody's played Starship Troopers below, or if you're looking to play it in fast, or any great stories, because for me, there are some fantastic stories. Infiltrator bugs are one of the worst for me, and we've played with those. But nevertheless, some of your stories about your war against the bugs and exactly what happened in those. But otherwise, that's Fast Talking today. As always, here from Art of the Genre, I hope you have a great day and great gaming.